Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is One Day Today, episode 102. It's been quite a journey getting not only breaking the threshold of 100 episodes, but we've had so many extraordinary people from all over the world, really sharing, just the beauty that's just in our everyday lives and the things that, unless we are intentional, sometimes we don't notice. Like, it's so easy to focus on the scary things, the loud things, and granted, there have been a lot of those things in the world lately, but that's what the space is about, is to really hold and focus just the beauty that's just always there if we look. Just the possibility of being somebody who can lift others up or help someone in the face of tragedy or trauma, or whether it's internal or external. And it's been humbling to just been on this journey with all of you and with Matthew and all the amazing guests that we've had so far. And today is no exception. I'm really excited about our guest today, which we'll introduce in a second. But I just wanted to just hold the just I'm just feeling grateful for what this is and what's really possible when we focus and experience and recognize the divine expression of the universe in us all. And our guest today, her name is Mary Pat Rogers. She's a dear friend of mine. And Mary Pat, I'll just say before I should let her introduce herself, but I'll just say she's one of the most generous, compassionate people I've ever met. And you'll see why in a moment. But I think, the beauty we experience in the world is, it's a lot of time it's people that notice it, that things that we don't even notice about ourselves and about others. Mary Pat is someone who's always just reminds us of the beauty and reminds me of the beauty. So I'm really excited to have her. But first, let me say hello and welcome our co-host, Matthew.
Yo,
Hey, brother. How you doing today? I feel like I
kind
haven't
of
seen you in a while.
recovering. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Like it feels like it's been a lifetime. Like so much has happened
Yeah.
since we last chatted. Um, yeah, I'm good. I feel like I'm in a bit of recovery today. I was out in the rat race
Mm.
all day yesterday, and um, I find myself challenged to a new level of like seeking beauty in everything. Um, I I'm really, really grateful that I have the opportunity to go out and make money whenever it feels appropriate. Like whenever I need money, there's always an opportunity there to go make money. Um, what I am being challenged is enjoying the process of making that money. Like that is not something I have ever truly enjoyed. Yesterday I was doing Instacart, shopping runs, and it was just it was challenging to like constantly seek moments where or not, that's not the way, to constantly seek gratitude. Like no matter what, no matter how I was feeling, no matter what I was doing, like just having that practice of gratitude was quite challenging. And I got thrown a podcast last week that really kind of brought all this into perspective where um, one of the things they were talking about was, yeah, save the world. Definitely save the world, but savor the world. And there's so many things in this world that I have not been savoring, and there is something to savor in every single little thing if you look. And I just haven't been doing that. And so that was kind of my challenge yesterday, and it's been enlightening how much I've been shunning simply because I didn't want to look for something beautiful in it. Like I had this preconceived notion that there was nothing good in it, right? Or even more strongly, there have been things that I've been purposely cultivating, like attitudes and ideas that I've been purposely cultivating over the last 10 years, where I have actively shunned some of these things. And like I'm realizing how
Yeah.
detrimental that has been.
I totally get it. And that's been a journey for myself as well, in experiencing, money is a perfect example of something that, you know I've had a lot of jobs, I've had a lot of passion projects, but like it's always like one extreme or the other. And it's kind of a trap. The system that we were born into was something that we inherited, and it's like it's not like we were born one day and it's all right. Now here's the money system, and here's what you can opt into this, or you can do this, or it was just it's an interest. It's like our time, and this is a whole conversation we could have about the money paradigm, but it is interesting finding in this new, ever connected world. There's so many things we can do, and with automation and all, and it's like we're in like a new level or opportunity that there's ways to generate money that actually are beneficial to you, to the community, to the world. And it's just like, but it's like creating that, and it's like creating that. It's like a foundation for that, and that's the journey I've been on as well. It's
Yeah, and like you just pointed to something that I really want to bring to the forefront really fast, like that we were born into a pre-existing story. And for me, what that has always brought is this feeling that I did not choose this.
yeah.
Like, I did not choose to be born an American citizen. I did not choose to be born in this particular body. I did not, like, and I've, like, for the longest time, I've felt trapped in that. Like, I felt so angry and so frustrated that I'm here and I'm being forced to do things that I would have never chosen to do simply because this is the context that I was born into. And the every spiritual tradition has talked about some form of rebirth, to be born again. And I feel like that's a big part of it. Is to be born again is to actively choose, to accept and to choose to be where you are. And in doing so, all of a sudden, for me anyways, that has opened up this whole new breadth of opportunity in that, okay, this is exactly what is here today. Like, I'm done fighting and I'm done being mad about it. I'm done like trying to avoid it because it's not what I wanted to begin with. Like, I wouldn't have known what I wanted to begin with anyways. I had no, like, before I was born, I don't know that I had anything to reference to, like, there was no yardstick, there was no measuring stick. I wouldn't have known. Oh, I would have wanted this instead of this. I would have wanted to be born in a black body instead of white body. I would have wanted to be born in that country instead of this country. Like, how would I have known? And so, like, there's this acceptance of this is where I'm at, and there's nothing that I can do that can change anything that came before, but there's everything that I can do that can change what comes after.
Right. Yeah. It's like when you can see the lemons, that's when you can make lemonade.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so
I
that's that
love
kind
it.
of
I can
rebirth.
I
It's
can
like that
relate.
choosing to be here, as opposed to
Mhm.
just killing myself, which is the other option. Like, I can always just kill myself. I don't have to stay
That,
here.
that is an
But
option.
like, but
I
I'm
well,
choosing to be here.
what's interesting what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. It is a choice. It's a choice that we always have, and I feel I agree. Is I've resented the system that I was born into, or like I didn't choose to be, and it's like, and I realize that's another form of not accepting what is, and it's another form of it's like there are lessons in growing past the things that I react to and I respond or I become the victim of. And I think this is part of the growth journey of humanity, and what we discover is in our way is really an opportunity to grow and to lift others up and who are dealing with the same thing. And this is the leapfrogging of human potential and growth.
Exactly. So
Well,
let's
let's
leapfrog.
welcome Mary Pat.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
leapfrog. Talking leapfrog.
let's.
Let's bring in Mary Pat. Mary
Speaking of
Pat,
frogs, here I come. Yes.
so good to have you. It's like I said, Mary Pat, you're someone I love and I honor, and I'm just so you have such an energy that is you impact a room and who you bring, and I'm excited and feel privileged to have you here sharing with us. But welcome.
Well, thank you. And I really feel privileged to be with you and Matthew both. And I was listening in, if you will, in the conversation. And it really just opened up something for me that I hadn't even thought about. that I want to offer to you and the listeners or whoever sees this or whatever. And that is, Matthew, when I heard you speaking about savoring life, and that is really what I'm about. And I had never even thought about that word. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is um, really, I think I would call myself here at age 74 just an excited ever learner. I'm just really like, I don't want to stop ever learning anything. And it's not about so much what you learn as what you discover for yourself. And in the last 2 years, I've taken on really discovering and curiosity for myself, like personally taking that on. And Abram, I think I shared this with you one time that when I think about discovering, I think about a 2-year-old standing in the front yard in the first snow ever and really being able to discover that snow. Like you taste it, you touch it, you feel it. It has every sensation for your body, and you just are discovering. And once you discover snow, do you ever forget that? Even though it might not ever snow in the rest of your life, you still remember that 2-year-old experience with snow. And that's what I just really want for the world, to really discover who we each are as human beings and to really look at what we have to offer to one another. And I know 8 years ago, goodness, it's been a while. 8 years ago, when I completed a course called the Landmark Forum, a personal growth and development course, I created being, love, connection, fun, and adventure. And I literally took that everywhere I went, even to the grocery store and the post office and the bank. And hearing you speak about Instacart and, serving others, really, that's a place where you're serving someone else, but to really take the time not only to just enjoy all of that, it's just all exciting. If you look at it that way, if you take it on as an adventure, even doing laundry was a time in my time raising 6 children. I took on praying as I folded their clothes each day. I took on praying for that child as I went along. And it just made it like it went by fast. It wasn't a burden, if you know what I'm saying. So I really invite us all to look at how can we live life in such a way that nothing that we are involved in, nothing that we do is a burden, but instead it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to serve one another, be with one another, just be connected. And I see myself and my life being truly a conduit of grace and love with the world that I'm in.
It's so beautiful, Mary Pat. And really what I hear, and this is something that I really resonate with as well, as it's wonder and wonderment. And it's like, it's that, it's what you're talking about, snow as a child. It's like, it's this, I grew up in California, and it wasn't a lot of snow in the part of California that I lived, but it was always this mystical, magical thing. And it was like, before I ever went to visit snow, but it was like, I see that you can experience everything in that way when you look for that, when you see, when there's always something to savor. And
yeah,
where this, what this is opening up for me is, like I said, the word wonder, but there's such a beauty in experiencing the world from like a child heart, and it reminded me of something. I don't remember exactly how it was framed, but it's how it was talking about like mastery of something, and how beginner's mind, like there's a mastery in the beginner's mind, and how when you're starting something out, you're like, when you're learning a new skill, when you're playing, it's like, it's always like it's a challenge, but it's something, there's always something you're looking for, something new to discover in it. And it's like, and that mastery is not the final step of something. It's actually in that finding what you were describing. It's finding that beginner's mind, that curiosity, that wonder in what you're doing, in that present, being just fully present and just fully immersed in what you're doing. And I think that's what I hear in what you're saying.
And I spoke with a lady today, and it was very interesting because she said what she wanted for herself in her life was to actually be, she said, I remember as a little girl waking up every morning and being excited, like, what's new today? And she said, and I outgrew that, and I don't want to outgrow that. I want to go back to that space of like waking up and being excited. And she said, you sound like that kind of a person. And I said, well, thank you for that. I am that kind of a person. I wake up and I go, here we go. Like, get your boots on. Here we go. We're going to go. And it's really, truly that adventure in life and discovery, as you said, and wonder. Wow, wonder what it would look like if I actually took on grocery shopping as an adventure instead of a burden. I have to do this because I've got to have something for dinner tonight. Instead, let your creative juices kind of go and say, yeah, maybe it'd be fun to just have bacon and eggs tonight. I know that's breakfast, but let's do that tonight and make it fun. So that's what I'm about in my life. And I just really was sharing with Matthew before the program just a little bit about taking on for myself at age 74 to listen to the people in my community and what they're saying about who I am, because that's what I value that. Like, I love to hear wonderful things, but I spent my life, and Matthew and I both were sharing about this, that we can always remember the bad things people think, or what they didn't like about us. But to really take on listening for those things that make a difference and where you are a contribution, so that you actually get to treasure and enjoy the environment that you're in. So I invite you, Matthew, to take that on.
Yeah, as you two have been talking, I've been kind of sitting with it, and like taking on that honesty, like that level of honesty with myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that it's right on the tip of my tongue, and I don't quite see the words for it, but it's something about being disconnected from my creativity and my curiosity and my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something that happened as I was growing up, or maybe like a series of things that happened as I was growing up, um, where like I stopped becoming curious. I stopped being curious, and everything kind of became normal.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this place I got to where it's like I already like everything plays out like how can I put it? It's like everything becomes expected. Like I've seen this before. I know what this is about. Like there's nothing new here. There's nothing like I got stuck in that at some point
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, and breaking that conditioning of like, oh, I already know what all this is, so I don't need to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
That feels
What?
like
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm just curious if you could just think for a minute. Is there a word that comes to you, like in that space where you are, that would describe that? Just one word that you could describe about what you're telling us about or
I
sharing
mean,
with us?
like the first thing that comes to me, that's depression. Like
Okay. Yeah, I hear that.
um, like that is yeah, that's
There's something
depression. Like
more I'm looking for. Something more. It's like it's going to be this way. you already been here, done that, and bought that T-shirt, and I've done that a few thousand times. But and what occurs is I'm gonna share it with you because I just for the sake of us moving forward. What about the word resignation?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm resigned to like this is the way life is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
see in that what happens is there is no discovery and no curiosity because it's just going to be this way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly when I took that on or but I've noticed it. Like I've come back to this at multiple points in the last few years, and every single time I come back to it, like I peel back another layer of it.
Hmm.
Um, and it's
Yeah, may I offer you something, Matthew?
sure.
Mind blowing. Are you ready? That's our human condition. That's
It
all that
is.
is. I have it. Abram has it. You have it. It's a human condition that we have like literally fallen into. And what I'm speaking about for myself is I had to interrupt that human condition that was present.
Mhm.
And it's still there. It didn't go away totally, but my view of myself and my life is shifting into adventure and curiosity and wonder versus
Yeah.
just that. Okay.
I am right there with you, and it's I do feel like it's like it comes back to making that choice. Like I
Hmm.
can choose to be curious, and I can
Hmm.
choose to look, and I can choose to see the newness in everything every moment. Like
Hmm.
um, the other thing that comes in all this is certainty. Like there was this certainty that I knew exactly how things were going to play out,
Hmm.
and in being certain, that killed any access to actually seeing something different than what I already had determined it to be.
Hmm.
And the reality is, I don't know. Like
Hmm.
I have no earthly idea. And
Hmm.
in admitting I don't know, there's the curiosity comes back again.
Right. But there's also a little bit of fear, isn't there, Matthew, of
Oh
what
yeah,
will it look like? Isn't there? I
yeah.
mean, I had that. I have that. Like, oh, what will this look like? Oh my goodness, I'm going to look like an idiot being on this program today. All of that is there. And you just have to go, yep, it's there. Let's scoop it all up and put it aside. And I'm going to go be on this program, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I love
So
it. And
yeah. So go ahead,
what comes
Abram.
to my space, like, and this reminds me, and this is like something that's beautiful. So I used to be really into improv comedy, and
Mhm.
I mean, one thing that'll make me laugh for hours is like you put on like if saw it live or if I saw it on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and but also musical improvisation, but and there's some beautiful spiritual lessons in improv, and it's like just as a musician, and I played, toured for years and years and years and just relied off of just improv, and but also improv comedy. It's just like there's a principle called yes and it's like whatever a partner or the universe puts in your space, you say yes to. And so somebody asks you, hey, do you want to go hiking? And you say
Yeah.
yes, and I want to wear polka dot shoes. Or what I mean? Like it's like you add, so you always add to it, and it's like,
Mhm.
and I think, and there's so many beautiful lessons in living life as a as an improviser, and just how you
Mhm.
create every moment. It's like, yeah, you might go the same route every day on the way to work, but I think of the movie like Groundhog's Day. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh,
Have you guys seen it?
yes.
And it's one of the most beautiful movies ever. But it's like how each day, like at the beginning, he's like really grumpy and unhappy, and just resigned. And eventually, he's like learning, doing pianos every day. He's like rescuing a cat, saving a homeless person, like giving high fives and dancing, and like doing ice chiseling a statue. Like, and he's like, but it's a beautiful lesson because it's like every day we could create to be like the most beautiful, fun dance, exploration of adventure. And that's, I mean, I feel the lesson of that movie, but for me, that's a principle of improv, which
Mhm.
as I'm thinking about it and reminded of it, it's a missing, because that living that life from that yes and, it's like you can just be the joy in a space that there's seemingly no joy. It's like where you can connect, even in a hard situation, where you can connect with someone and make them laugh. And it's like, how can I do this normal route that I do every day, and maybe I'll skip today, or maybe I'll high five the mailman, or maybe I'll, it's like
Right.
living from that place. It's like there's never a dull moment.
Right. Well, and what I'm hearing right there, and I'm thinking about myself as, coming on this show today, is really being present right now and not having the answer. Because who I was 10 years ago, I had to have the answer. And not only did I have the answer, but I was right about it. And that is not a place where you win friends and influence people, for sure. And particularly not your children, because what they look at is, who does she think she is? Just because she says she's my mom, or whatever. So all of that's present in improv. Really, just be like right here in this moment, right here in this moment, right here in this moment, and you move through life that way. And you really are open to possibility. You're open to excitement. You're open to adventure. You're open to wonder, curiosity. All of those things are present. Love, connection. What does it look like? If you don't know, you create it right here, right now. That's what we're doing right here. We're all creating, aren't we? Right here. I didn't know a thing when I got on this program, except Matthew's name is Matthew and Abram's name is Abram, and my name is Mary Pat, and that's all I can say I know. So thank you both for being with me here, and keep going. Whatever. What's there, Matthew?
Like, you just hit the nail on the head for me. Like, it's exactly what I was about to bring up anyways, is presence. Yes, we can take the same path to work every single day. But
Mhm.
in doing that, if I am really paying attention to what's going on around me, then I'm going to notice all the minor things that are different every single time. And in noticing all the
Mhm.
little minor things, there are infinite opportunities there for variation. Like Abram
Mhm.
said, like, maybe today it's high fiving the mailman and the conversation that leads to, or like maybe it's seeing someone on the side of the road who needs help and just stopping to help them, but like,
Mhm.
in order to notice those opportunities, we have to pay attention, and that to me is the root of a lot of this. And if not everything, is being present to the present
Mhm.
moment.
Well, and and savoring. Really, that's a
Yeah,
huge word, to savor the life
yeah,
that we have right here, right now. And not always be wanting something over there or maybe something from back there, but like savoring this moment in time is just precious, really precious. So
Right.
thank
Right. Well, and it's like if there were two parallel universes of just Abram A and Abram B, and just imagine like side by side, like a dual view camera observation of me doing my day, and I could live my day that today is going to be crappy. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed, same old route, and I could just kind of leaning my head over Charlie Brown status, and I could just walk,
completely
and
resigned.
show up, and yeah. And at the same time, I could wake up, maybe still get the exact same amount of sleep, but it's like, hey, what would it look like to savor? What can I savor today? Like
Mhm.
it's a miracle that I woke up. Like, wow, another day. The sun rose. I have people I love. I have people that love me. I have fingers. I can play my piano. I have ears. I can listen to music. I have shoes. I can dance. It's whatever.
First of all,
But
you have breath and you're breathing, right?
yeah, you're breathing,
And we
and
forget sometimes that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like but it's like I mean, we definitely have hit the nail. It's like it's being present. But it's having the gratitude in this
Mhm.
moment to, like, wow, like there's something beautiful, that the fact that I'm even here right now in this moment, in this time, this space, and I get to do anything right now. And I could make somebody laugh. I could make somebody, make someone smile. I could, whatever it is, I could help somebody up who fell down, because I'm looking for that opportunity, and how I know how good it makes them feel. I know how good that makes me feel. And it's like, that's the choice. And it's, there are a lot of difficult circumstances in people's lives, and there are tragedies, there's still murder in the world, there's still terrible things that happen, but it's still, there's people, but when people still choose to be that person who's lifting others up, it's like, that's that's how we expand beyond what we can even consider as possible right now.
Well, and I sort of see that what you're saying right there is, rather than helping, I really see it as us as humanity supporting one another in what we're up to, what we want to fulfill on in our lives, and being present with people in our life, our community, whoever it is. And life doesn't throw you something and say, you choose. Life throws you something. And so we either get to embrace it or we get to resist it. There's really that choice of embracing it or resisting it. And embracing it is, for me, a much more wonderful path, because it actually allows you to be with whatever it is that you're going on, whatever's going on with you, and sharing it with others and allowing them to support you in having it work. So both of you are silent. What's wrong with that? No.
I, totally off topic, but your internet connection is being a bit jumpy. So we're
Is
having
it?
trouble hearing
Okay.
you. Yeah, I'm just out of
Okay.
curiosity, how long does it typically take you to restart your computer?
I don't know, to be
Because
honest.
this might be a perfect chance. Like we typically do kind of like a break in between guests,
Break.
and
A little check-in.
Okay.
yeah, a little check in with the audience. So this might be a perfect chance
Okay.
to let Abram do his check in and restart your computer really quick. Do you still have the link to join back in?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'll
So
do
let's
that.
let's try
Are
that,
you are you hearing me
and
better now or no? Are you hearing
it's
me better
better
now or
now.
no?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Okay.
is
it's
better
it's
now.
much better now. But for
Okay.
There's a
some
little bit of a
reason,
delay, and I can still hear you, but it was like speeding up and slowing down.
yeah, it was very
Okay.
strange.
I
So
It sounds
didn't
fine
check
now.
my whatever. Does it? Okay. Well, yes,
Your
take a
internet's
break,
good.
and yeah, take a break,
Yeah, well, we're just gonna
and
check
that's
in really quick.
perfect. Yeah.
It sounds perfect
Okay.
right now, Mary Pep. We're just gonna check in real quick, but I just want to
Okay.
invite people who are viewing and watching and listening. I want to invite you to share your story and be with us and share your gift. This is what this space is for. It's a platform for courageous leaders to really share their story, share their gifts, share their triumph over trauma. In new media platforms, and this is what One Day is about. So go to the link on the bottom of the screen, onedaymvmt.org/share my gift, and we want to invite you to share the gift that you are. And this is what our mission here at One Day is bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And that's one story at a time, one conversation, and it's already there's so many beautiful conversations and doors and bridges that are being built. I'm excited for the conversations we're having and what's been opening up in this space. So let me now welcome back Mary Pat. Hi, Mary Pat. Long time no see again.
I know it's been at least 2 minutes, right?
At least a minute and a half. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So,
So we were talking about obviously being present and the opportunity. And what you were just saying, Mary Pat, is how we're dealt what we're dealt, and it's and how what our role is in supporting how we can lift each other up when we have the courage to be present, especially when it's maybe a little difficult, maybe when it's a little bit when it's a trying situation. And I use this, I refer to this a lot, and I used the word helper earlier, and you called out to say support, but I use this example a lot with Mr. Rogers, talking about his mom, saying in times of tragedy, his mom would always tell him, look to the helpers. There's always someone lifting others up. There's always somebody, like, think of 9/11, think of every tragedy in my lifetime. There's always someone, like, even in the midst of the most terrifying things we're capable of, or natural disaster that happens, there's always people that are lifting others up. And I would just love to hear your thoughts on that, because I kind of feel like it's in the same vein as what you were, which is what we've been talking about.
Well, the reason I use support, there is a reason there. I've always been, I'm going to say, a volunteer in my life. I've had the opportunity to be an at-home mom to raise 6 children, and I always was a volunteer. And then I really got that volunteering, you have a commitment to do something, but there's not a structure necessarily in that volunteering. Like, if you choose not to be there that day, you don't show up, right? Because you're a volunteer. But instead, if you are someone who's supporting or working with someone in a particular area, you have more of a commitment, if you will, to make sure that you are there, that you are present for what's happening with that person in their life. Whether, like, if it's, supporting after 9/11 versus helping sometimes connotes, if you will, that the person isn't capable, when in fact the person is more than capable, but they're in a situation that they need support. So that's my differentiation, not right or wrong.
I think it goes back to what Jesus. I think it goes back to what Jesus said. I think it's about you teach a man to fish, you can eat for a lifetime, and I think that's I think that's exactly what it is. It's like there's a time to help. Obviously, an ambulance or someone's physically hurt, you help pick them up. But when we lift people up and teach them how to fish, or teach them how to be expressed in their gift and their skills and their in their unique genius, we all reap the fruits and the benefits and of the fruits of their spirit and the fruits and flowers of their spirit.
Yeah. Well, and when you think about, if you really think about being of service, like really being of service, and Jesus called us to serve one another as well. I mean, the first commandment being to love one another. And when you're actually loving another, you don't put anything in the way of that love. That love is pure. That love is perfect. That love is everything that you have to give to that person. And when you're being of service to someone, in my world, what you're actually doing is hearing from them what would make a difference for them and what they're actually up to in their life. And then you are stepping alongside of them, providing whatever it is that's needed or wanted in that situation. So that's the way I sort of think about it in my world. So I don't know if that's helpful to you, Abram, to give you an understanding.
Real quick, I'm going to interrupt because I want to try a little experiment. Abram, every single time you mute your mic, that's when Mary Pat's connection starts going weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't understand.
Is it happening
So
now?
let's
Just experiment. Say something really quick.
I may not have anything to share. That may be why, you see, and all that's good. That's good. It's just quieting down, and see that there's no issue over here for me because I can hear you all. And obviously I hear myself because I'm speaking. But anyway, but Matthew, thank you for your concern that my words are heard.
Yes. Very, much so.
I'll try to stay unmuted then.
Yes, it seems to, like, it may just be pure coincidence, but it seems to work
Yeah.
better. But there was something you just said, Mary Pat, that like I'd like to add to.
Hmm.
The first commandment is to love each other, but there's it's love your neighbor as yourself, right? Like
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
full, at least what we got handed down. And I feel like that to me has been a really important insight is that, you know, I'm not capable of loving others any more or any less than I'm capable of loving myself. And so if
Hmm.
I don't fully love myself first,
Hmm.
then I'm not going to be loving anyone else either. Not
Hmm.
really.
Yeah.
Um, and so like that kind of starts with that what we were going back to at the very beginning of the show, which really being honest with ourselves and listening to everything, right?
Hmm.
And I was wondering if you would kind of step in and share a bit about what was stopping you from hearing all the positive things before. What was it that was like, where were you at? What was going on in your head? What was happening in your world where you couldn't hear what your neighbors were saying about you?
Yes, that's a very good question, Matthew, and it's a it could be a very long story, but I'll be as concise as possible. But when I was growing up, one of the things that my dad said to me more than once, not just once, but I was probably 5 or 6 that I remember. We were having a conversation, and I think I had either done something wrong or messed up something. I can't remember the incident, okay? But the words my dad spoke were, "Before you were born, my life was perfect." And I was like, at 6 years old, how do you deal with that, right? So in that moment, I just made up that I needed to be perfect and I had to do everything right. Well, you know, and I know that didn't even go for 1 minute because that's not possible, right? so, so with that, then I went the next level in that conversation and said, huh, I guess my dad doesn't love me. And so that's what I brought out into the world was that I wasn't lovable. And so when people said nice things about me or said something complimentary about me, I discounted it because I had that view that I wasn't lovable and I wasn't perfect and I didn't provide a perfect world for my dad. Now, none of that was true, none of that was real, but that was a story that I made up about me. And so that's where that came from, not being able to. And so, really discovering that for myself probably 8 years ago. And then it still took a while for it to like really kick into space where um, my world was truly, it should be this way or it shouldn't be that way. That was how I lived my life, right? You should do this or you shouldn't do that. Versus, what if I just live my life? And so I really was free then from those stories from my past that said I wasn't lovable. He never said, I don't love you. He never said those words. He just said, before you were born, my life was perfect. But I didn't have the processing as a 6 year old to go, life's not perfect. You know, I processed it as, what did I do wrong? I did that to my dad. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and not to turn this into an advertisement for Landmark, Abram and I have both
No,
been
no,
there,
no, no.
but like that is one thing that I found I really appreciated about what they brought is they like the distinctions they really make it easy to distinguish those stories that were created as a kid, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
to see the impact that those stories that we started to believe as kids have had on our lives as adults.
Yes. Yes. I
Um,
mean, it's really looking at who you are, Matthew, who I am, Mary Pat, who you are, Abram, and how did we get to be the way we are?
yeah,
That's just, to me, that whole deal is just magical and powerful and transformative as well. So all of that together, you're just like, and it's not like you just go, oh yeah, that happened. And that, no, it's a process. It's completely the process of really bringing to light the story you made up about something, or the significance or the meaning you gave to something in your life, and how it literally permeates every area of your life. It's not just one little area.
Yeah.
But I even had to literally, one time, came to my husband when I discovered that whole love issue was pervasive in my life. And I said, what's it been like to be married for 42 years to a woman who just couldn't believe you loved her? And he said, it was really difficult, but I love you. And we've been married now 50 years, which is a miracle right there. Now, has all of it been perfect? Absolutely not. I've got my own things and he's got his own things. But what's beautiful about it is there's really a deep, deep relationship of trust and acknowledgement and who we are for each other in the world. So I'm very grateful for that. I really savor that after 50 years. And we've known each other more than 50 years. I think we figured it up the other day. It was something like 64 years or something. And I'm like, what? So anyway, but yeah, but those things that we like allow to be the voice in our head saying, oh, if you said something nice to me, I would say, oh, Matthew, you just don't know me, right? That's how I discounted it. Well, that doesn't do anything for you or for me, because that literally makes you say, but she can't even take my compliment. And I was being real with her. So now I say thank you. And I just suck it all in. So,
That's
So one,
beautiful.
one more question.
mhm.
What was it that brought that story to light for you, like 8 years ago? What happened that brought that story to light?
It was looking at the difference between what happened and what I made it mean. Like really taking that on for myself. Like, where was a place in my life that I made something mean something that maybe it didn't really mean that at all. And that wasn't just with my dad. I had that with an older sister of mine. She had told me no one time when I requested for her to come and help me with my mom. And she said, I can't. That's all she said. Okay. Guess what I made it mean? She didn't love me and she didn't love my mom. Did she say that? No. Was that real? No. And when I was able to see that and call her, but what I did was I set her on a shelf at that point. I said, yeah, she's my sister and I love her and we're not going to have any relationship, right? That doesn't work.
Yeah.
42 years I lived that way until I did the Landmark Forum and really got, wow, you made that up, Mary Pat. When are you going to clean that up with your sister? And I called her and we cleaned it up and we spent 8 years before she passed away of just like really connecting and love and being with our other siblings. We just didn't have any connections there. But remember, I said I've created love, connection, fun, and adventure. That's what we did. Those things right there. So it was just magical, really magical. So thank you for asking, Matthew.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. Everything that you're sharing is it just shows that, I mean, it just goes back to the choice that we have, and it's like how when we can recognize where our story holds us, has held us back, the impact of
Mhm.
the stories that we believe and the stories I
Mhm.
believed. I can talk hours about the impact of how I've hid from myself and hid from the
Mhm.
world, and I think that's where our freedom is to create every day when we have that blank canvas. of not
Mhm.
built on the past, but built on something that is
Well, and it's very
new every
difficult.
day.
Yeah, it's very difficult even now. I mean, I have to I'm going to say, I call it bringing it captive, like bringing those thoughts and those stories captive in order that I can literally be free from them so that they don't constrain me. Because, often we don't look at the impact of something, do we? We, we
Mhm.
have an action or we have an inaction, but we actually don't look at the impact of that on others. And that's what I think is really critical too. And part of that is being present, isn't it? Being present, Matthew, so that when somebody says X, you're present to, wow, that really hit them, like the way I said that.
Mhm.
And then being in an inquiry about it with them. I
Mhm.
sense that what I said may have upset you. Is that true or not true? Because then that's where the story gets dispelled, if you will.
Yeah, if we don't even notice the impact that our words have on others, then there's no
Hmm.
opportunity to address anything.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Um,
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
and thank you. It's like this to me is the great opportunity, or this is my great opportunity in being here. Like I know that everyone gets to define whatever opportunity they want in being here on this planet, but like to me, this my great opportunity is to really be able to sit and listen and notice when people are telling stories that aren't actually true
Hmm.
and to call those stories into question in some way, shape, or
Hmm.
form. And this
Hmm.
is, we live in a society that is built on stories and
Hmm.
assumptions.
Hmm.
And those assumptions have led us down a path that is, as far as I can tell, unsustainable and at the very least, completely disharmonious.
Hmm.
Like it does not, it's not in balance. There's
Hmm.
no middle ground. And um, I don't, I don't see any other way forward other than to learn to be present. Like each and every one of us learn to be present to what's going on in our own heads,
Hmm.
what's going on around us, and how we're impacting others.
Hmm.
And in learning to do that, like there's this whole new way of just being in this world
Hmm.
that just changes everything.
Hmm. Yeah, one thing I'll add to that, just thinking about my husband and I, when I said 50 years of marriage, I want to be clear about something. He has a perspective and I have a perspective. And as long as we're able to share our perspective without making each other right or wrong about it, we can move forward together with the different perspective. I'm like, let's get it done right now. And he's like, I'll get around to it. So like today he was dealing with something and I said, are you fixing to? Like that, just like I didn't know what else to say because it was like I could see there was an avoidance. And I said, are you fixing to? Like that. And he goes, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm fixing to. So, but you see, that allowed us to both be free in that situation, didn't it? Because I was
Yeah.
like, why didn't you do this yesterday? In my head.
Mhm.
But I was able to just like let all that go and just be with the fixing to. So I don't know if that's helpful at all, but it's like real,
Yeah, I love
it's like
that.
real life, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, well, I just want to thank you both for allowing me the privilege of being here with you in conversation today, because for me, life occurs in conversation. And that doesn't mean that we all agree about anything that I've said or that anything I've said is the truth or you've got to believe this or any of that. It's just an offering. So thank you for allowing me to be an offering. Okay.
Thank you for being here as an
Thank you,
offering.
Mhm.
Mary Pat.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you for gracing us with your company and your wisdom. And it's so like I said, I told you all at the beginning that Mary Pat had a presence, and she doesn't disappoint. And it's beautiful to be in your space because you again, you bring out, not coincidentally, you bring out the fun, the beauty, the joy in every moment, and you point us all back to that. And I think it's the world. I'm better off. The world, your community, everyone's better off for you being who you are, Mary Pat. And I just want to
Thank
just
you.
honor and thank you for being here with us. It's been such an honor, and I want to have you back and have some more conversations in the future.
Thank you. You see these locks up here? They're called wisdom locks, right?
Yeah,
I earned them. I earned them.
yeah.
Somebody asked me if I was going to color them, and I said, why? I earned every one of these.
Oh,
I love it.
So, anyway, thank you both, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you,
thank
Each
you,
Mary
Mary
person,
Pat.
Pat.
each person that's listening, or future listeners, or whatever, have a wonderful, wonderful day. A day of wonder and savory, right?
And awe and
Yes,
Sounds
curiosity and
delicious.
imagination.
it does, doesn't it? What's for
It
dinner?
does. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Maybe bacon
both.
and eggs. All right.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you,
Bye
Mary
bye.
Pat. And
Bye
thank
bye.
you all at home for tuning in and being with us. Again, I want to invite you to share on this stage. You know, why we have this space is for you to really share your gift, and you have something unique that really lifts us all up. And really, what our vision here of one day is humanity rising in a connected world with each person's unique gifts, genius contributions being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all again for being here. Thank you again, Mary Pat. I love you all. Be safe, be well, and as always, one day is today.